So here's a few forwards I would try to trade for here heading into week 2 of the fantasy basketball season. The first guy is Caris Levert of the Brooklyn Nets. Levert, what a game last night. I know he took 29 shots, but we're going to see a lot of games out of Levert where there's going to be no Kevin Durant and Irvin at times on the same night. And Levert, he had a huge game, 28 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists, 5 steals, 2 threes. His shooting percentage was horrible though. Like I said, 12 for 29, which is only 41%. But Levert, he's a guard/forward combo guy that I would try to trade for. The Nets, these guys, they're going to be out a bunch of games this season, Irvin and Durant, and that's on just rest alone, not even considering what they're going to get injured-wise or whatever the deal is. So Caris Levert, he's going to have a role no matter what. If he's going to come off the bench, it's going to be 20, 25 minutes a game. And then games where Durant or Irvin are out, he's going to play 30 to 40 minutes a game. And last night he played 38 minutes, like I said. So far he's struggling from the field with 3 or more games under 41% shooting. But I think Levert, he'll get it going. He's a pure scorer. And if he was on any other team pretty much in the league, he'll be a starter. So Caris Levert, he's a forward I would try to trade for, because we're going to see many nights where he's going to be the main player on this Brooklyn Net team when Durant and Irvin don't play. The next guy to try to trade for is Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. So far, Davis, he hasn't had those monster games like you would expect so far in the first 4 games. His biggest game was 28-8 versus Dallas on Christmas Day, but he didn't play on the 27th, and it looks like he's going to rest back-to-back games. And last night versus Portland, a mediocre game to Davis' standards. 13 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal, and he only shot 42% from the field, and he didn't hit a three-pointer either. So far, Davis, his three-point numbers haven't been good. His points per game definitely down from what we saw from him in the playoffs last season, where he was a total animal. And right now, it looks like back-to-backs, he's going to sit out like he did the other night. And right now, maybe teams, they know how to guard him. Maybe he's fatigued, who knows, with Anthony Davis, because he played a lot of games last season, and that was the most he played in his career. And Davis last year, he didn't get injured. Maybe he's dealing with an injury as well, who knows. But right now, his value's at the lowest, I believe it will be. And if the Davis owner, for whatever reason, after 1 week's frustrated and looking to deal him, I would try to go out there and pounce and get Davis here. The third forward I would try to get is Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. Butler, I know he's banged up with the injury, and I don't know if he's even going to play here tonight. He's a game-time decision, but most likely doubtful versus the Bucks. But Jimmy Butler, you know the toughness, you know what he could do. In the playoffs, we saw him have some historic games, especially in the finals versus the Lakers, where buckets, he kept the Heat in it. He did everything he could, and this guy, he's a good ball player, and he's good for fantasy basketball teams. So right now, he's injured with the ankle, like I said. He's probably going to be out tonight and tomorrow because it's a back-to-back for the Miami Heat. But I think he could come back on New Year's Day at Dallas. And right now, if the Butler owner is disgruntled, well, they got no patience with injuries for whatever reason. Jimmy Butler, I think you could get him at a decent price. And coming into drafts, he was in the 2nd or 3rd rounds getting drafted. And Jimmy Butler, he's a baller. You know he don't like being injured, is this guy. And he wants to play every game. He's a guy that don't take rest or days off. So Jimmy Butler, I would try to get him if you could at this point. The Gordon, the Orlando Magic. Gordon, he's an athletic swing forward. At small forward and powered forward, but he didn't play much yesterday after a back-to-back for this team. Only 20 minutes the other night. 4.6 rebounds. But Gordon, if he could get his shooting up there, if he could start hitting threes, he's going to be a major asset for the Orlando Magic and in fantasy basketball. And Gordon's an athletic man. He gets to the hoop at will, and just like I said, if he gets the jumper going, he's going to help. And so far, his first few games, opening night versus Miami, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals. The second game versus Washington, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and he did add a 3, which was good, 50% from the field. And then in limited minutes after the back-to-back, 4.6 rebounds, 2 free throws, 25%. I think the back-to-backs, limited minutes, that's going to go away soon for Gordon. Gordon, he was hurt last season. It was a short year obviously, from the playoffs to the start of the regular season. And I think they're easing him in there in Orlando. They're trying to trade him as well, I believe, with the Magic. But I think Aaron Gordon, he's a player you should try to buy low. And I don't think you got to pay a premium for him at this point in the season. And the fifth and final forward I would try to buy low and get here is Robert Covington of the Portland Trailblazers. So far, the struggles have definitely been there for Covington in the shooting aspect of his game, but everything else, he's still giving you decent stats, is Covington. But so far, his first game of the year, he shot 0% from the field, 3 field goal attempts with 1.4 rebounds. His second game, 3 for 7 from the field, 42%, 9 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. And last night versus the Lakers, 2 for 9 from the field, 4.6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, a block. Last season, we saw Covington shoot lights out in the playoffs pretty much, and since he got traded to Houston in the midseason blockbuster. But anyway, I think Covington, he'll be fine. He's going to get it going in Portland. He's playing major minutes, 38 minutes the last 2 games for him, and once again, he's going to play 35 to 40 minutes, I believe, is Covington. He's a stretch. He's a good 3-point shooter. This year, a new team maybe. He's off to a slow start, new system. And now he's got a couple road games coming up in the next few days, but 3 more games this week. And Covington, I know he's been dropped already in 2% of fantasy leagues, but I'm going to keep confidence in him. And if you're want Robert Covington, he's a good get, I think. And I don't think you got to give up much at all right now to get him on your fantasy team. After the 3 struggling games he's having, the next forward I would try to trade for is Kelly Oubre also, the Golden State Warriors. Oubre, he's been struggling mightily so far. He's 0 for 17 from the 3-point line on the season, and his best shooting performance was 21%. And Oubre, he's way better than this. I think he's nervous. He's just in a slump for whatever reason here with his new team in Golden State. His first game versus Brooklyn, 6.7 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, 21% from the field. The second game, 1 for 10, 10% from the field with 3 points, 5 boards, an assist, a steal, and then 18% from the field to Chicago on 3 of 16 shooting, 8 points, 11 rebounds, 4 steals. So Oubre, he's still giving you other stats. He's still making plays, and I think Oubre, he'll get it going. There's no way this guy's not going to be a decent shooter this season, and there's no way he's not going to start hitting threes. And I think tonight the turnaround starts for him at Detroit. And remember now, Golden State, they started the season here on the East Coast, the first 4 games of the season. So I think once Golden State goes back home, which they are on New Year's, for at least a 3-game home trip, I think Kelly Oubre, the numbers are going to go up. And right now, you could get him dirt cheap, and he's been already dropped in 3% of fantasy leagues. So Kelly Oubre, he's a player I'm definitely looking to target, and you don't got to give up much at all to get him. So that's a few forwards I would look to try to trade for here in week 2 of fantasy basketball.